Good evening. Welcome to the College Knowledge Show. We're excited to have our next show. College Knowledge is a series that's brought to you by TeenSharp and DETV, sponsored by County Exec Matt Meyer and Newcastle County Government. We started College Knowledge. I'm Atnre Alleyne, the co-founder of TeenSharp. We started College Knowledge as a show and as a support for families and for students during this time of the pandemic when schools are in flux, a lot is going on, and many people don't have the answers that they need to apply to college successfully, to find the right financial aid, and just to maximize their chances after they graduate from high school. So we've been doing this series for several weeks, and today's show, I'm so excited that we're going to focus on parents. Parents have been tuning in, students, you can also tune in today, but we're focusing today specifically on parents, making sure that they know what's their role in the college application process. What do they need to know? How can they make sure their child gets the most out of the college admissions process successfully? So on the show today, we're going to delve into the topics of, what's the role of the parents, what information, what myths do parents believe that we want to debunk, and we also want you as always, to reach out to us if you're watching us on Facebook, on social media, to drop your questions in the comments so that we can answer your questions as we're watching today. So we have some exciting guests today that are going to delve into the topic of what parents' roles is in the process. So I'm going to start first with my co-founder, Tatiana at TeenSharp, if she can introduce herself.
Good evening. I'm very excited to be here again and to have an opportunity to discuss what parents need to know about the college application process.
Thank you, Tatiana. And we brought back Erica Dorsett. She was on the show. She's a fan favorite.
I am back, y'all. I'm excited. So my name is Erica Dorsett, and I have a son, Elijah Jones, who has graduated from the program. He's now at Gettysburg College. Whoop, whoop, go Bullets. And then I now have Michaela, who is a 9th grader, who is in the process. So I've been a 5-year TeenSharp parent.
Oh, amazing, amazing. All right. And first time on the show, we're excited to have Benita Penn also joining us. Benita, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Benita Penn. I have a 9th grader, Edward, who will be 16 next week. Oh, my gosh. I can't believe I have a 16-year-old. So I am excited to be on the show. This is my first time, so take it easy on me. And this is my 2nd year as a parent in TeenSharp. So I am excited about this opportunity. TeenSharp is a great program. I encourage everyone to get involved in TeenSharp if you can.
Okay. So I'd love to start, Erica, I'm going to start with you, just talking about your parenting journey, your college prep parenting journey, right? There's a lot to your parenting journey.
Yeah.
But thinking about today, if a parent's watching, just sharing a little more about your parenting journey as you think about getting your children ready for life after high school.
Yeah, so I believe that as a parent, there's a lot that you don't know. You know how there's a saying that says you don't know what you don't know?
Yeah.
It really is true. So I have an older daughter. She graduated from the University of Delaware about 1.5 years ago. Woo-hoo. And so with that, the journey with her was so much different than it was with Elijah going through TeenSharp. One of the things was, just as an example, is I thought that, and I guess we'll get into this when we talk about the myths, is I thought that as long as she had really good grades, I wanted her to apply for as many scholarships as possible, and I wanted her to stay close to home. Mm-hmm. Well, with Elijah, because of the type of school we chose, we didn't have to really apply for any outside scholarships, and we got a much better offer, thousands of dollars more. The other thing was, with Ariana, the rule was, you only can go an hour away. With Elijah, we were willing to send him almost 24 hours away a drive. Now, not a plane flight, but 24-hour drive away. So a lot was different between, like I said, my first child versus the second child that went to college. And I would definitely say that TeenSharp helped me tremendously in regards to that.
Okay. Bonita, you want to share just about who you are, right? So someone's watching and like, okay, who are these people sitting here? Talk more about you as a parent and what you're thinking about around your journey with your child.
Yes. So I only have one child. So my parenting journey, I'm still learning it as I go. So I don't have a second child where it's like I've learned from the first child and now I've made all the mistakes with the first child and now I get it right with the second child. So I'm still learning as I go, but it is a fun, awesome journey. I will say that it's a little scary thinking about my son going off to college, not, having having the protection of a parent there with him. But I'm excited for the journey that he's going to have, and excited for him to be able to go off to college. And, you know, the sky's the limit. So I won't limit the options of where he can go. Wherever he wants to go, he's able to attend any college he wants to.
Sure.
So I'm excited for what the future holds. And I'm so grateful to TeenSharp for just even opening my eyes to that, and, you know, just letting me know of all the different options out there.
Thank you. Tatiana, you've been working with parents. I mean, you're a parent also. You've been working with parents for 11 years, along with me, right, with TeenSharp. What are you hoping we get into today about parents' roles, what parents need to know?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there is so much, right? So much. And I really hope that we might be able to talk about some of those fears, perhaps, that so many parents walk into this journey, right? The fear of the unknown, the hope in the unseen, right? That is also so scary, where it is that I'm letting my child go, right? Sending a child, you know, if we're talking about a child of color, to a predominantly white institution, sending a child far away, right? Sending a child to a place that is extremely rigorous, right? You know, all of those things, you know, are really fearful. I also, of course, you know, we cannot not talk about how do we get our kids ready? You know, and so getting an early start, right? Bonita joined with her son TeenSharp program as a 9th grader, right? You know, so starting early, and there is even earlier starts that are necessary. There are so many fundamentals that you got to be able to do to make sure that in the senior year, those fears that you have as a parent, you'll always have them, right? But those fears are not really, like, there is no material evidence to them in the end, right? Like, that you prove yourself wrong, right? Like, I'm afraid, but I'm going to trust the process. We worked so hard to get here. And I just want to be proven wrong, that those things that I'm so worried about, like my kid graduating in debt, you know, and not ending up anywhere good, right? That those fears are just like completely unreasonable in the end.
Yeah. Bonita, you want to now, like, it's like Dr. Phil or whatever. Like, so what fears do you have, or did you have around just college prep and eventually the college admissions process with your son?
So ultimately, one of the fears I had was raising a child as a single parent. So when you think about the support system that comes with a 2-parent household, the support system that comes with having a father, a male in the household, it's crucial to raising a Black male in today's society. So that was one of my fears, is how would my son, you know, end up? How would he turn out? How would being raised by a single mother affect him? So that was one of the fears. And another fear is, would he even want to go to college? You know, what is his thoughts and his views surrounding getting a higher education? Does he understand the value that getting a college degree will improve his life, improve his outcome, improve his stability later on in life? So that was another fear of, you know, does he get it? Does he understand? Another fear was sending him far away to college. What if he chooses a college on the West Coast, you know, far away? Would I be okay with that? So there's a lot of fear surrounding, you know, raising a child and preparing them for college. Does he have the right grades? Will he get into colleges he applied for? So it was a lot of, you know, kind of fears up front initially.
Yeah. So, I mean, parents that are watching, you know, these are things what we're talking about. You know, this is the things that we feel, right? So, you know, whatever you might be feeling at home, one of us is feeling that, or certainly a lot of the parents that we've worked with. I have 3 children, so it's very early. The fears are nascent, but they kind of evolve as you get closer to what happens next, right after. So, Erica, what did you think about in that process?
So the funny thing is, now that Elijah's in school and this is first year, all my fears have just gone away. But initially, my fear was that he was not going to be prepared.
Yeah.
Like, when you think about the child and you're living with them and they're not keeping their room clean. Sorry, Elijah. But, like, they're not, you know, they're just
Put them
not.
on blast.
Right, you
I
have
put them on
to-
blast at all the shows.
Right,
dude.
exactly. You have to remind them to take out the trash. You have to, even with him being up on his schoolwork, where he was still early, well, I won't say early, but late into some of his high school years, still not turning in assignments on time. And so it would be like, he kind of had this, everything's going to work out. And it did work out, but I needed him to have the habits of a student, because some students, they can just not study and get A's, Or some students will think that, or even parents may think that, oh, you know, my child doesn't have to study, they just get good grades, they're such an excellent student. When in reality, it's going to smack them in the face when they get to a highly rigorous school. If your child doesn't know how to open up a book and read for an hour or two and dissect the information, know how to take copious notes, know how to go to their teachers and make their teacher their partner in their education, it's going to be I won't say it's going to be. It may be a problem depending on the institution that they go to. So my fear was that even though my son, he was naturally charismatic, he naturally had good relationships with people, I didn't see him in high school developing the study habits that I thought was necessary once he got to school. Now, Elijah totally turned it around, but it was because of the school we chose. So the school, and I keep saying we're going to get into it later, but the schools, choosing the right school is important. And so, like, at the school that he's at, they have a writing center. The school that he's at, the faculty-to-student ratio is like 1 to 12 or 1 to 10. So it's like, he needed that hands-on where his teachers are friending him on social media. There is no line for the office hours. My daughter, I told you, went to the University of Delaware. When she needed help, the line for office hours was out the door. And this was if you showed up on time. Because you got to think she had 300 kids in one class. So if office hours is showing up, you got 40 to 60 kids showing up in like a little tiny teacher's office, you know, professor's office. Where with Elijah, if it's 1 to 10 student faculty ratio, he shows up for office hours. It's like a mini tutoring center. Another thing that was really good for him, and like I said, that helped ease the fears, was he made himself like at that school. So at the University of Delaware, you have, and it's not a knock against University of Delaware, I'm just comparing one student versus another student. So for Ariana, University of Delaware has over 25 to 27,000 students. At Gettysburg, it's only 2,500 students. And so for him, he was able to make those one-on-one connections, and Ariana did as well, but it's a lot harder when you're one of 100 or one of 65. And so he has those relationships where he can reach out to his teacher, and it's not a long line of TAs having to grade an assignment or having to wait to hear back. It's like the return time is really good. So a lot of the fears that I had because of the institution that we chose, he's thriving there because of the supports that they have.
Yeah.
And I want to piggyback off of that, if I may, Atnre. Erica touched on a very important point of the things that you have to remind your child of and hold their hand in high school. That can be a real fear too. Basic chores, you know, telling them to take out the trash, telling them to clean their room, you know, telling them to fold their clothes and put their clothes away, or do the homework, do the assignments, or reach out to the teacher for help. There's times where, you know, Edward will need help on an assignment, and I'm like, well, did you email the teacher? Did you reach out to the teacher? And he's like, no. And I'm like, well, how does the teacher know that you need help if you don't reach out to the teacher? So even teaching the kids how to advocate for themselves, that's a fear of mine when he gets to college, is if you can't reach out to the teacher now, or you're afraid or intimidated or don't take the time to email the teacher and reach out to the teacher now, how are you going to do that in college? So I just want to encourage the parents that are out there who may share similar stories, you know, about their son or daughter right now in high school. It does get better, as Erica said. So don't look at them at the stage that they're in right now and think like, oh my gosh, they're never going to go to college. That's not going to be the case. They will mature. They will, you know, develop that skill. We just have to give them a little bit more time and be there and still continue to support them and work with them through it. But I think that, you know, what you said was very awesome in the sense that now Elijah is thriving in school and thriving in college. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I think the piece about that for us as founders of TeenSharp that is so special is that we see students from, you know, in New Jersey, our program that was in New Jersey, we had students from sometimes 5th grade, right, all the way up. In Delaware, you're talking about students from 9th grade up. And so you see this evolution of students where the parents, you know, we're outside, right? So we don't have to have the day-to-day debates and fights in the house, right? That might happen, but we always see, we're obviously deeply involved, and we see the growth over time, and we see how many of these stories end up super successfully. And so as we come back from, we're going to take a break, but as we come back from the break, we want to kind of unearth some of those worries and fears, and then let's talk about how do we make sure we kind of address them? How do we make sure we have strategy, and what kind of support can you get through this process? So please, keep tuning in and check out teensharp.org/college knowledge, and you can sign up to also get our support after the show. So.
it's time to open my quest for a judge application. I'm not. Wow. Okay. Ya voy a abrir la aplicación. Y ojalá que se me toque. Si no, pues ni modo. Ya. Para tratar mejor con. Ojalá swipe more. A ver, ¿qué pasa? Estoy nerviosa, pero quiero agradecerle a mi mamá. Muchísimas gracias, mami, por estar aquí conmigo. Y eso no. Por estar aquí conmigo, apoyándome todo, aunque sea como en la medianoche como bruja, pero gracias a mi familia. Thank you so much. And I'd like to thank Kim for everything, and Miss Tatiana for helping me with my quest for education. Wow. Thank you so much for being a guide to me. Esto no sería posible sin ustedes. Okay. It's right there. I'm gonna open it. Let's see. Not matched. This is fake. Not true. I'm going to. Oh my. Wait. Yo.
Welcome back to the College Knowledge Show. It's a show that's put on by TeenSharp, and TeenSharp is an organization that serves Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, supporting students to get to top colleges, Black, Latino students, and low-income students. And this show has been designed to help families navigate the college application process. And today we're focusing specifically on parents. What should parents do in the process for college application, but also for parents that are earlier, how do you make sure you prepare your children? So I wanted to start with my co-founder as we're talking about fears that parents have, concerns, and and what to do. A lot of people don't know about that. They know the people that know about TeenSharp. They know about the work you do with students. But a lot of the work a lot of time you spend, specifically with seniors, is talking to parents. What does the parent work look like to make sure that they're aware that they feel supported as well?
Yes. So the work that we do in TeenSharp, right? Our focus is on preparing students, as we know, for top-tier colleges. So not any college, but a top-tier college. And so we do have a good chunk in our TeenSharp community of parents who have not had that college experience. Some because they're immigrant, maybe they had it in their country, but the complexity of higher education in this country is very different, right? Some that just did not have a chance to go to college. But we also have folks who have gone to college, but the experience that they had completing their degree is going to be dramatically different than what their child's experience is going to be, especially if they're in the care of TeenSharp. So that means a lot of gaps in knowledge, starting from that it takes a lot, right? If we are talking about a top college preparation, and the fact that the average grade in America, average GPA in America is an A, right? Like on average, students have A's. So
That's
just
scary.
it is very scary. It is very, very scary. If a kid does not have that, that's a problem. And so many of our parents believe, and they share that I came into the program thinking that in my house, A's and B's are good grades. As long as my kid has A's and B's, I have no question. And you guys are telling me that the bar is a little bit higher than that, right? That they don't realize that classes you take matter, right? We come from this assumption that schools know best, right? Schools are professionals. Whatever classes they gave me, that's the classes my child needs to have. without knowledge how much advocacy is required to make sure the child is on the top curriculum. And then also the fact that many of our schools just do not challenge our brilliant kids enough, right? So they're getting those A's, they're taking seemingly top classes, and they're just like not putting much work. Like they never break a sweat. And the colleges that we prepare them for are dramatically different, right? And so you gotta really create some type of a situation where a kid is able to feel the pressure of having a lot of things going on for them. So many of our parents would say, like, why so much is needed? Like, I went to college, like, I wasn't half as good as my kid is. Many parents tell me that in the senior year. My kid is so much better than I ever was, right? You know, there's more involved, better grades, better rigor, and you are telling me that there is a high chance that my kid might not be able to afford college, you know, or not be able to get in. Like, I cannot believe that. Like, I got into college. I got that scholarship. The context has changed. The number of applications that colleges are seeing is increasing year over year. The number of top scorers, valedictorians, salutatorians that our kids are competing with, you know, I mean, it's a ton of them there, right? You know, so how do you make sure that you're able to support your kid without continuously thinking back to what happened 20 years, sometimes 30 years ago in your experience, or what you just have heard, you know, so you know, there is just so much calibration that needs to be done. Sometimes parents like having too high of expectation. Most of the time it's kind of too low of expectations. And then there is everything in between, from learning about schools, understanding financial aid process, you know, on every little step. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a growth process also, because you want to make sure that we see it sometimes happen with teachers, and that our students' teachers, that, you know, they think, well, I went to college, so let me tell them everything I know, and you might be giving wrong information, or you might be capping them based on your what were your experiences. So, Bonita, can you share? You know, you've been connected to TeenSharp for a few years now. What do you know now that you didn't know about college admissions, the college application process, just college readiness?
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's so much. Tatiana touched on a little bit of it. I'll start with the school. So the classes. Parents need to be, or should be, aware of the classes that their child is taking. Asking to look at the schedule, you know, meeting with the counselors themselves, if they can, with their student, to look at the class schedule that their child is taking, and advocating for, you know, classes that have more rigor, you know, those AP classes, you know, looking at their school profile. That's something I learned. I didn't know about the school profile prior to becoming involved with TeenSharp, and how that profile applies to my son, and how the colleges look at that school profile. So just, you know, kind of breaking down the school profile, looking at the class schedule and the course schedule that the schools are offering. That's a thing. Parent-teacher conferences, you know, are awesome. So just the importance of the parent-teacher conference that more parents need to kind of be aware of and participate in. And even though your child may have straight A's, still show up to the conference.
Yeah.
You know, some teachers are like, you know, oh, your child has A's and B's, that's fine. You know, they're fine in school, they're fine in my class, they're doing well. You don't have to schedule a conference. No, you still need to schedule a parent-teacher conference.
Yeah.
So things like that is something that I learned in TeenSharp. Ivy League universities, these top tier colleges that Tatiana mentioned, had no idea what some of these colleges were, or even that some of these colleges and universities existed. So that's something that I learned. A lot of why Ivy League colleges and top tier colleges have the most to offer my son. So the differences that they have. You know, Erica mentioned writing centers, the smaller class sizes, so having access to your professors, paid internships, for example, these multi-million and sometimes billion-dollar endowments that you never hear about. It's like the best kept secret. So that's something that I've learned in TeenSharp. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It's so many things. And, you know, I'm a college graduate. You know, I have a master's degree. So again, as Tatiana mentioned, there's so many things that have changed from the time that I went to college till now, when it's time for me to prepare my son to college. It's so much stuff that I thought I knew that I just didn't know. So, you know, having the community and the support and access to TeenSharp and the resources and the knowledge, you know, that this organization gives and provides to students and parents, it's just priceless.
Yeah, I mean, and I think you talked about what's changed from when you went to college to now. What have changed from before the pandemic to now?
Oh, yes.
That's why we also did this show, because even now, I mean, people don't know that a lot of colleges said, we're test optional this year, so you don't have to submit your standardized test scores. And we're trying to sound the alarm about it because for this standardized test scores, SAT, ACT, have been a barrier for so many low-income students and students of color over the years to get into schools. And now you have a year where they're saying, all of a sudden they're like, all right, we're not taking them, right? All these years people have been advocating for that.
Yes.
Erica, what did you? I mean, you're now a veteran.
Yeah, so the funny thing is, it might sound silly, but I was under the assumption as a parent that once your child got into college, that everybody was at an even keel. You know what I mean? Like everybody was on the same level playing field. So it's like high school's behind us. Now we're going into college. Everybody has an empty mind and we're just ready to be poured into. That's not what happens. And so University of Delaware is a rigorous school. And I didn't realize that the high school and even the middle school foundation that your child has is what is like the bricks that sets them up to be able to sit in a seat. So you got to think, if your child went to a subpar or a highly anemic high school or middle school, their seat is like here, versus a child who's had the foundations in college and they're here. Now, when it's freshman year, they're both sitting in the class, and guess what? The professor is teaching to here.
That's right.
And so the child is literally drowning in the gap.
Yeah.
And so for my daughter, she called home after the first week of school, and she kept saying, Mom, in my science class, the teacher would say, now you guys learned this last year. Now you guys learned this last year. She said, I didn't learn that last year. And he wasn't going to go over it. And so the issue is now, for instance, with Elijah, he did actually go to a rigorous high school. But it wasn't just a high school. It was coupled with TeenSharp, right? And so because TeenSharp provided him with probably 3 or 4 college courses a year. You got to think over the course of 4 years, he had already had the access to that college level material, but a lot of the reading resources, because in TeenSharp, you have to read a plethora of books. So he became an avid reader. So when he got to college, right, he was ready to grapple. That's the word that I learned. That's a word right there. He was ready to grapple with the education that was in these universities. Now, the other thing was, and this is what I talk about with that gap that was there. So apparently, this is what I learned in TeenSharp. By the time your child graduates 12th grade, they should have at least experienced calculus and math. Now, in order for your child to get the calculus, that means they would have had to have set that foundation in 8th grade.
Yeah.
And if not, they got to do some doubles and some triple ups throughout the time.
Yeah.
So Elijah was applying for school. And so when he got there, a lot of his classmates, and these were more white, affluent classmates, were very surprised that he had actually a higher level of math than they had. So he was able to get the calculus by the 12th grade. But if I had not known about TeenSharp, I would have just thought 4 years of math.
Yeah.
It's not just 4 years of math. There's specific math courses that these colleges are looking for.
Yeah.
And once again, they're teaching on that level. Now, you would notice that better than I, because I'll go down with it. But this is another issue. Delaware's college readiness is at a 46.
41%.
See, I was going to go high with 46. You're going to say 41?
Yeah.
41%. Which means that 69%, is that 69% or 59%? 59%. See, that's the problem right there. 59% of our Delaware graduates, I'm not talking about black students, I'm talking about black students, white students, affluent students, public school students, have to take remedial courses once they get to college. So once again, when we talk about the idea and the mindset is that now your child is in college and they did that whole year, understand that was 13th grade.
Yeah.
Understand it does not count towards graduation. They're probably, if they don't catch up now in college, talk about you saying that you think that the high school, people think that high school, you know, with the courses they take, what they can get. Definitely in college, ain't nobody checking no course description.
Yeah.
They saying I'm taking math, but it's finite math, or it's, you know, it's not English 101. It's these remedial courses. And so I think that as a whole, if you are a parent in Delaware, understand that your child may be, remember the majority, so 59% of our graduating seniors are not prepared for college and will have to take some level of remedial courses once they get there.
Yeah.
And
Tatiana, what would, so talk about that, right? So someone watching a parent watching, like what should they, which, you know, our episode today, like what should they be doing?
They should be
to make
afraid.
They're afraid.
They should be shaking in their boots.
But they should also be encouraged.
Yeah. So a mix of like you should be, because if your eyes aren't knocked open, you might take it too, you know, not seriously enough,
Yes.
right? But like, what can they start doing? And this is senior year, right? Because sometimes we have students during senior year, their parents think like, okay, they're seniors, right? The school said they're good, so they can kind of take a soft curriculum, right? You know, not be in school a lot, or ninth grade. So like, talk more about the rigor piece.
Yes. So I think my panelists, the two wonderful moms here have said a lot of wisdom, right? And I will just reiterate a few points. So Bonita talked about the school profile. Really, really important document. Every single college receives a school profile with a submission of teacher letters of recommendation, guidance counselor recommendation, a transcript, and the fourth category of document that the school submits is a school profile. School profile details what the rigor is like, what the curriculum is about, what are the special programs. School profile detail the distribution of grades, because in some school, 3.6 could be a GPA that, you know, top 15% of the school has, right? While in another school, we're talking about GPAs that are, you know, 5.5 and 6, right? And so 3.6 then becomes beyond mediocre, right? You know, so the school profile helps situate your child in terms of what kind of classes they're taking and what is offered, you know, what kind of grades they're having, and, you know, compared to the rest of their peers. So I'm talking to you, the mom who is sitting, the dad who is sitting, request from your school to see the school profile.
Yeah. So look at that school profile. If you are watching and you're in Delaware, I know we have people watching from other places as well. This is school choice time, right? So if you're in the position, right, if you're senior year, that's not the point. That's, you know, not the focus. But if you're earlier in the process, as we were talking about, you wanna make sure you're in the right school that's going to get maximize learning for your child, so the needs your child has. But in general, you should really figure out what we're saying. Basically, you need to figure out the curriculum. You need to make sure that they have the kind of preparation, right? So a lot of what we heard, you know, Bonita was talking about, you need to make sure you have the kids clean the room and they have some good behaviors, right? Just general like maturity, but they also need to make sure they have the academic readiness, right? So we'll get into more of that when we come back from the break. But please check out teensharp.org/college knowledge. We're here to support. As Bonita said, it's not a thing to get afraid about. We're here to answer your questions and to give you the right support.
I don't know, ever since I was small, I knew I wanted to do something. I wanted to go to college. I wanted to give back to my community. And for that reason, I knew that college was for me.
I moved here from the Dominican Republic 2 years ago, and I had no idea about the education system or how it worked, and I didn't speak English at all. And TeenSharp was a great help for me to guide me and tell me all the things I had to do. And Miss Kim and Miss Tatiana were always there, and you know, the whole team were always there to teach me and to guide me.
I've been in TeenSharp for 4 years, ever since I was a freshman. TeenSharp has played a big role in my life. I go every majority of the Saturdays, not even gonna lie.
I just want to be an example for everyone that's coming after me, and I want to be able to be that person for someone who is looking up to me, because I know there's a lot of people who are counting on me. So the main thing is just the fact that I want to be an example, and I want to, you know, let people know that it is possible to do.
Letting down be my mom. Hi.
Bueno, mejor yo no sé cómo decirlo, pero me siento muy orgulloso de usted por todo lo que está haciendo en su estudio.
But you are my hero.
You're my hero.
You are the person more honest that I know in my life. And I want to say in English because I want that you know that I am trying for. Nikai, I will always love you,
You're always a very strong girl. No matter what the decision is, always know I will support you and I will always be there. And you can make it. You are a very strong, intelligent girl. And I'm always forever gonna be proud of you, no matter what the decision is.
I am honored to be your mother. I am so honored to be your mother.
Hi, Alex. It's Donna from Pittsburgh College. I'm here with Natalia in Paris. Hi. And we wanted to offer you your acceptance to Pittsburgh class of 2024.
Come see Mom.
No, I'm dying here.
You got it?
Hi, Nikai. It's Donna from Pittsburgh College.
Hi.
I'm here with Paris and Natalia.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Well, you're actually going to be a whole lot better as a part of Pittsburgh College.
It says your connection was interrupted. Okay, welcome to Carleton College on behalf of the admissions committee and the Carleton.
Oh, baby, I love you. I love you. I love you so much. This is yours. This is yours.
We're back on the College Knowledge Show, and we're digging into the conversation about what parents need to know and how they can get the support they need, but also have the information that they need in the college application process, but also in the college prep process. And so before the break, Tatiana was jumping into just talking about the things that parents need to know about the academic side for their child. That sometimes you think the school and everything is fine, and then you find out that when it comes to senior year that your child might be behind, or they don't get all the money that they could get or the options they could get. So you want to say more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So before the break, I talked about the significance of one document called School Profile. And I encourage all the parents to request that document from the guidance counselor. It's done. They do not need to recreate it, right? It's just a matter of asking, can I see a copy, right? And so what you're looking for, you're looking at what is the coursework that is offered. The same way that admission officer in a college would be looking at the document. And look at the transcript that your child has, right? So what are the classes that your child has been able to take or is planning to take? What we at TeenSharp recommend is a very simple rule. Take the hardest classes possible.
Very simple.
Very simple rule. Take the hardest classes possible. Do not be silly about it. Like, do not just load up on AP classes and get poor grades, because my next piece of advice will be 4.0 is really, really important. By 4.0, I mean straight A's. But take the hardest classes possible. Some college school counselors believe that, well, if the child doesn't want to pursue a science major, why take AP chemistry? Why take AP physics? Why take AP biology? And so what we know as a nation about our college student population is that they evolve, and they should. They should. They go to college, they uncover new interests, and the kid who was not STEM interested now becomes STEM interested. And so we do not want them to find out that, out of a sudden, just like Erica was talking about her daughter's experience, that I am unprepared to be in certain classes. Take the hardest classes possible, reaching that calculus class by the time that they reach a senior year. The second piece, I'm going to talk about grades. Grades are paramount. And we are at a time of remote learning where there are unprecedented rates of failure right now among high school students in the state of Delaware and across the country. The policies that we have had in place are just not holding up. The fact that so many of our students graduate from middle school, from K-8, unprepared for high school rigor, right? We are feeling it now more than ever before. Right? And so it is really, really important that we leave nothing to chance. So for parents with the younger students, If your kid is disorganized, organize them.
Yeah.
You know, there is nothing inherent about it. They're not. Nobody's born knowing how to organize their book bag, how to organize their notebook, how to organize their folders, how to look at their grades and monitor those things. These habits, if you sit down every night and go through that with a child, organize their schedule, how they're spending every hour, and you do so consistently for at least a month or so, you know, they can begin to rewire the way that your child operates. And right now, more than ever before, you know, it is an opportunity for us to really cultivate that true desire and thirst for learning that every single child has, right? Because when they're babies, that's who I have at home. Yes. They always ask, why, what, and so on and so forth. They all want to know. And then over time, that kind of goes away, but it never leaves. You know, we just need to make sure that that's kind of comes back through the series of interventions. And the final piece I'm going to say, so Bonita, for example, had you know, despite it being a remote learning time, she had requested a parent conference via Zoom, you know, at the beginning of the school year. Building strong relationship with teachers for your child and for you as a parent is really, really important. You know, you want to set the expectation that you have as a parent for your kid, just in case there are any biases that, you know, might need to be, you know, changed. I know. You know, and make sure that everybody's on the same page, that your expectation is that your child can and will get to an A level, maybe not yet, but they need to get there, and that this is what I'm doing, this is what my kid is going to be doing, and this is what I need you to be doing as an educator. You know, setting these expectations for college, this is where I see my child going. You know, community colleges are a great fit for some students. You know, public universities are a great fit for other students. You know, some other colleges are great fit. So just paint the picture. Mm-hmm. Here's what our expectation is. Here's what our aspirations are. Because again, the help that teachers give, you know, we all want to believe that it's very objective and everybody gets the same amount. But you know we're all human, right? Yeah. It doesn't work like that. And some demand more attention and they get it. Others are just kinder people, and we want our kids to be that type, you know, who teachers want to invest more time into. And there is a lot that parent can do to help shape that relationship.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
If I may jump in, I'm sorry. I just want to touch on 2 points that you said. So one, yes, requesting that parent-teacher conference, it is so important for parents to advocate for their child. So a lot of teachers in high school will say, oh, well, the kids need to be their own advocate. And, you know, we prefer to just talk to the kids and let the kids email us or, you know, reach out to us. And parents need to feel comfortable and take the approach where, you know, no, I am the parent as well. Yes, we are teaching the child to advocate for themselves and to, you know, speak up for themselves, but they haven't mastered that skill yet. So, you know, while they're a minor, I am still their advocate. At the end of the day, I have to give an account to this child, you know, for this child. I'm responsible for this child. So the same is true if the kid was missing a bunch of days of school. The school wouldn't have a problem with holding the parent accountable and taking the parent to court for truancy and things of that nature. So the reverse also has to be true as well, where the parent can reach out to the teachers and advocate. All of the teachers should have the parent's contact information. All of the teachers should know the parent's name. You know, so the parents should feel comfortable advocating to the school, you know, about their child. And then the second thing is, you know, we talked about children not being prepared for college, the high school kids graduating and not always being prepared for the college classes and things like that. That's why this TeenSharp program is so vital. It needs to be funded. It needs to be supported because the reality is there's not a lot of programs out here like TeenSharp that focuses on our Black and brown students, that focuses on getting them into top tier colleges. So programs like this needs to be supported, need to be funded, because you guys are offering, you know, resources to parents and students that is no one else is offering out there. You know, the math classes that we talked about. So having TeenSharp be able to offer these extra math classes for our children to take so they can be on equal playing field and an equal level when they get to college. The writing classes, all the other college level courses that our children are taking each and every year through TeenSharp. the college tours, teaching our children about the admission processes and what they need to, how they need to apply for college.
Yeah.
This program is so vital to both parents and students.
Yeah.
So I commend this program. I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. and people need to, like I said, support and fund this program because the work that you are doing to help families and help our Black and brown students, it's like none other.
Thank you.
Thank
We need to got to, it's like a let's start a telethon right now. You can call us.
Yes.
No, but on a serious, but make sure, we set this program, teensharp.org/college knowledge. Sign up. Email us on the website. You can also see a number. You can text us, and we can respond to you tonight, right? Tonight,
Yes.
immediately, right? That kind of availability is not there normally. But I want to get something that Bonita said. Bonita said that you have to stay involved and engaged because, that you have to give an account for your child. Not just you have to give an account, you probably have to go into your bank account for your child so every grade that's not right? Anything that's not right, ultimately there's a cost to it too. We talked about that on the show, the previous episode about the financial part of the process. So for parents, it's really important also to just like, sometimes well, my child didn't know, my child didn't do this, right? In my example, I was a student that was very kind of on top of things, and I didn't always need my mom to do it. And when I applied to college, though, talk about the financial implications, I got into college, and it turned out I didn't turn the paperwork in that proved that I was a New Jersey resident. And so I went to my state university and paid out-of-state tuition for the first year until I realized that I was paying out-of-state tuition because I didn't turn a paper in, right? And so even though I was really good, I could have used some more oversight in the process. So, just to Bonita's point, Erica, just thinking about, what are things that parents need to do differently? Like maybe actions you might need to take that you didn't know you need to take. Because there's a growth process for parents as well if they want their child to get the most out of this.
I think I think the common theme tonight is about classes. So one thing I would say is look at the child's schedule.
Okay.
I think that schools, I can't really tell what guidance counselors in schools are doing. I'm gonna say they mean well, but college prep classes are not going to prepare your child for college. It sounds like it's supposed to,
Yeah,
but it really isn't. And so one thing that parents can do is if you don't see an AP or an H next to your child's class for like English or for history or for science or math, you need to call that school immediately and say, why is my child not in an honors or AP? How do I get my child enrolled in an honors and AP? Now, in my experience and the experience of a lot of parents that I've been around, the schools are going to immediately be like, and you may not find it. They're going to roll out the red carpet for you, which goes back to what Bonita said, which is advocacy.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that, one, you're looking at the transcripts. You're looking for an AP or an H next to their classes. If the school says, hey, our college prep courses are just as rigorous or just as fine as these classes are, they are not telling the truth. Another thing that I would say is understand that when you're looking for colleges for your student and you're going online and you see that the school said that there's $75,000 or that there's $61,000, that is not the price that you have to pay. And so a lot of parents will say, okay, you know what? This conversation has been so motivating. I'm going to go online, and they're going to ask their child, where do you want to go? And the child's going to say, I want to go to Princeton. And so you're going to Google. I'm going to let you know right now, it's going to be like $70-something thousand. Like the sticker prices are very shocking, but they're shocking for a reason because they're supposed to be a deterrent. They want families to be deterred at times by not applying. But what I will say is the next step would be figure out what school you want your child to go to, and I want parents to also know that there are colleges and universities out there that meet full need. They'll meet 100% demonstrated full need. So they can Google colleges that meet full need, and there's a list there. So one of the myths is, one, that college prep does not mean prepare for college. Number two is that the price that you see for these colleges are not the prices that you pay. And there are universities that are out there that say, hey, if you do not have enough money, we will meet the need for you. So those are two things that I would tell parents to do right now.
Yeah, and that's great. So when we come back from the break, please Put your questions if you're watching on Facebook. Put your questions in the chat. We want to make sure we address your questions. But if you don't get to do that right now, you always can go to teensharp.org/college knowledge, and we can address your questions. But we'll get into more so rapid fire, right? In the last section, questions that you might have as a parent, so that you feel supported, feel pumped up. We might have given you some stuff that might have been a little disheartening, but you can do it, right? We have so many success stories, and we're excited to be working with you. Watching his face, like, what is happening right now?
Try again. Go back to the email.
and see your email if in case they send anything to your email. Just look at your inbox while we're waiting.
Wait, calm down, guys.
Hold on. Oh my gosh.
Calm down.
It's
Calm down.
happening.
Calm down. Calm down, guys.
It's a video.
What's that?
It's a video.
It says welcome 2024.
We're back for the College Knowledge Show, and we're going to talk right now for this section just about seniors. Let's go more into seniors. What should they be doing right now? Tatiana, you're spending time working with 100+ seniors across the state of Delaware, the region. Also, what should parents of seniors be thinking about and doing right now?
Absolutely. So there are a few things that any senior with a senior should be, and I'm going to give kind of a quick checklist type of items that I hope you can write down, and you can talk to your senior at home, about like, where are you with those things, and then join them in the journey to support them to get them done. So piece number one is Fafsa Completion, right? Fafsa stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. It's the way for a child to access any type of federal dollars, including grants and loans. Without that document completion, the college will be unaffordable, right? Like, college will not be able to offer financial aid. So Fafsa Completion, and we have a wonderful resource through our Delaware Department of Education called DelawareStudentSuccess.org, DelawareStudentSuccess.org, where folks can provide support with Fafsa Completion. So that's piece number one. Piece number two, college list. Where are we applying? Where are we applying? There is a conventional wisdom that we want to apply to, one college or 4 colleges. At TeenSharp, our students apply to, on average, 15 schools. So we really, really recommend, especially this year when there is a lot of uncertainty, what the college application process is going to look like. Is it going to be dramatically more competitive, which is what we anticipate, or is it going to be less competitive? It really makes sense to be able to apply to more colleges versus less. So going back to, Erica sharing the colleges that meet full need, which are very competitive schools. So if your child is a child that, made good grades and took more rigorous classes, that's, the colleges that you should be able to check out. Colleges that meet full need, and there is a list of about 60 of those schools that you will be able to come across. And many of them you will have heard that are bigger universities, and many of them will be new to you. But know that these are schools that are affordable, especially for families with more modest incomes, and for families with more modest incomes, they mean full rides, and they are great institutions. The next piece that would be is, well, where do you stand with your application, right? So to be able to be considered by college, it is really important to have completed the common application, commonapp.org, written a few essays there. And so these are all the things that might take, 3 to 4 hours to get done. It's really not a ton of work. And we are right now in the month that is really leading up to the January 1 deadlines. And for all of my Delaware folks, apply to our public universities. These are your definitely financial safety choices, because you are eligible as a Delaware resident for in-state tuition. That is smart business to do that. And so many Delaware students overlook, public universities. So we definitely want to make sure that as you apply broadly and you craft a kind of list that kind of makes you stretch and go beyond Delaware geographically, that you do not forget about our in-state institutions that are positioned to provide you with good financial resources so that you can accomplish your education here.
I think that's a wonderful checklist, and I think that's critical. I wanted to ask Erica, what is advice you have for parents, more so for not limiting their child's options or potential, because it hurts our heart because we see, we work with so many parents, and you see parents who said, you can't go out of state, or you can't go here, or we need you to do this or whatever else, and we get different realities. But it can mean a lot less resources for scholarships. It could mean just like so much, right, that you're limiting their career potential. So how do parents, what would you say to parents?
So as Tatiana was giving her list, one thing that popped into my mind, which goes back to our myths and my piece of advice for parents, is that in COVID time, it is not the time to pass up your child applying for school. So some parents may think it's COVID, it's uncertain, these universities are shutting down. This is not the time to apply. We're going to wait till next year. We're going to take our foot off the gas, or we're only going to go to Del Tech now because it's closer. That is not the right thing to do. So the one of the advices that I would have is this is the best time to apply, because one of the things that happens, and once again, this is not the fault of our own, but a lot of Black and Latino low-income students do not do well on the SAT. And it's not because of it's systematic. Well, schools have taken SAT. A lot of schools have taken SAT off the table.
Yeah.
So this is the time to apply, to get in where you fit in, right? Another thing would be is when you talk about like what advice is that we can say, for some reason, I think as parents, and listen, I'm guilty of it. I told y'all with Ariana, it was like, you can only go an hour away. When they graduate, we're going to be able to tell the child you can only work an hour away? You can only live an hour away? When does this madness stop?
Yes.
Right? So it's like, at some point, it's going to have to stop. Where it's like, we have all of these rules and these regulations, and I get it. We'd be like, I heard parents say it, and I've been guilty of it. I need to be able to get to you. If it's 24 hours, I need to be able to drive to get to you. Cut it out. So what I'm saying is, the advice I would give is, let's take the shackles off of our child. Let's not put our fears and our worries on our little 18-year-old, wide-eyed, full of promise student.
Yeah.
So that would be my advice. And it sounds like Tatiana agrees with me.
I agree. And just a quick point to reiterate, I hear a lot of parents right now getting involved in a piece of, I need your SAT to go up. And that is precisely the last thing that you should be doing. That is nowhere on my checklist. Nowhere on my checklist. You should not be wasting those precious Saturdays. That's the time for you to sit down and work on your common application, work on your Fafsa, work on CSS profile, which is a second document. If you do apply to more competitive colleges, that's the time to do that. Do not worry, SAT. It's irrelevant in the college admissions process. Irrelevant.
Yeah, and so don't kind of enter in right now trying to. That's not the time to get it up. No. Bonita, your final kind of advice.
So my final advice real quick is I encourage parents to check in with their child. So check in and see where they're at. Like Tatiana was saying, see where they're at on the checklist. And if you need help, reach out to us. Reach out to us with any questions that you may have. Like Atnre said, you can text us questions tonight. You can go on the website. We'll answer any of your questions. So just check in with your child. And if you're lost at any point, any process, you need help, reach out to us. That's what we're here for, to support, to encourage, to answer your questions. We got your back.
Thank you. This is really important. I mean, college is a game changer. I spent the last 11 years doing TeenSharp with families is because we know that it can catapult careers, change financial trajectories for families, help you get to a place of building wealth, make sure that you're not just employable, but you're staying employed, right? When we saw a lot of people, I see some people in the education, this is my, I make this plug, talking about just trades can be great. But when COVID hit and I saw all these trades, people losing opportunities, and you saw people with college degrees, and a lot of times, having the ability to move around, right, and having that versatility, like it's really important to get to college and even beyond. And so this is not the moment right now to to falter, right? This is a moment, parents of seniors, this is a moment where you should reach out for support. Be vulnerable. If you have questions, don't fake it. Don't fake it till you make it, because the process will find you out, and you're going to find yourself in debt or not having your child reach the dreams you have. So we're here to help. teensharp.org/college knowledge. Sign up, reach out. Our contact information is on the website, and get your questions answered so that your child will be having an amazing outcome. We're so grateful to be here to hear the great stories of our students right now, and we want that to be the case for so many more of you. So thank you for tuning in. Share this video. Share what you learned and what you watched, and we look forward to you being in touch with us.